Hey guys, this is page 185, 186. We're just going to run through the problems. Problem number 1, we have this for one of our points. We have this for another line, and we have this for the last one. So all I need to do for each of them is just find the slope. So I'm going to find the slope of 1, so x1, y1, x2, y2. That's going to be 3 minus 1, 1 minus minus 1, which is 2 over 2, which comes out to 1. So the first, I guess this is line A, has a slope of 1. Do the same thing for this next one, x1, y1, x2, y2. So find the slope of that. So it'll be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that comes out to negative 2 over negative 3. So that comes to positive 2/3. So that's line B. Hola. So I can say that A and B are not parallel or perpendicular because the slopes are very different. Number 3, or letter C, we have x1, y1, x2, y2. So my slope is going to be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So our slope is 2 over 3. Being that these two slopes are the same, these are parallel. Remember, the two lines next to each other like that means parallel. Problem number 2. We have 2y equals x plus 12. And that's for A. For B, we have 2y minus x equals 5. And for C, we have 2y plus x equals 4. So I want to make all of these equations look like this, because when it looks like this, we can find the slope. So the first one, I'm going to divide everything by 2. So I get y equals 1 over 2x plus 6. So the slope of this line is 1 over 2. This next one, I'm going to add x to both sides. So I get x plus 5. I'm going to divide by 2, everything by 2. So I get y equals 1 over 2x plus 5 over 2. So I get a slope of 1 over 2. Okay, so I know that these two, because they're the same, they're both parallel to each other. The last one, I'm going to subtract x from both sides. 2y equals negative x plus 4. Divide by 2. So y equals negative 1 over 2x plus 2. And I get a slope of negative 1/2. Okay, this is a negative slope, but it's not a flipped over. So A and B are parallel. C is just a line that they would cross, but it's not perpendicular. Problem number 3. We have 1, 3, and then they gave us this equation. So what we want to do is we want to find the line that is parallel. So I know I have a slope of 2. So my parallel slope will also be 2. And I want to label this x1 and y1. I'm going to use our point slope formula and then plug in things. So remember, this y value is a positive 3, so it plugs in as a negative 3. Our slope plugs in directly. And we're going to have x. This is a positive 1, so it plugs in a negative 1. So this is the equation. This is the equation that is parallel to this equation. They're parallel, but it also contains this point. Problem number 4. We know the slope of this is going to be negative 4. So the parallel slope is also negative 4. We're going to call that x1 and y1. So I get y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So let's plug in what we know. y1 is positive 1, so it plugs in as negative 1. Our slope is negative 4. Our x1 is negative 2, so I make that a positive 2. So this equation is parallel parallel to that equation, and it also contains this point. The next two, we want to figure out the perpendicular, so it's going to look a little different. I have the same type of process, but we just have to realize what the slope's going to do. Okay, so the slope of this line is 1/3. Remember, the upside down t with an m next to it means perpendicular slope. So this is a positive slope, so the slope will be negative. And then I want to flip this fraction over. So that's the perpendicular slope. I'm going to plug into x1, y1. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. We're going to plug our values in. Our y value is -3, so it's going to be a +3 here. We're going to use our perpendicular slope, which is -3 or -3/1. It's your choice how you want to write it. Our x1 value is a +2, so it'll be a -2 here. So this equation here is perpendicular to this, and it also contains this point. Number 6.